What if ChatGPT could remember your projects, your taste, and your schedule without you repeating yourself every single chat? On June 4th, 2026, OpenAI rolled out a major upgrade called Dreaming V3. It is a smarter memory system built to keep context fresh, accurate, and useful over time. This is not a small tweak. It changes how ChatGPT carries what it knows about you from one conversation to the next. If you use ChatGPT for work, learning, or daily planning, memory is the feature that makes it feel less like a blank slate and more like a real assistant. The upgrade landed first for Plus and Pro users in the United States, with a wider rollout coming soon. Memory is what lets ChatGPT learn your preferences, your ongoing projects, and your personal constraints. Instead of starting every chat from zero, future conversations can begin with shared context. That means fewer repeated explanations and more relevant answers. Think of it like a colleague who took good notes about how you work. OpenAI says memory has become a critical part of the ChatGPT experience because long-running goals need continuity. Whether you are planning a trip, learning code, or managing a side project, memory is what connects today's chat to last week's chat. Without it, even a powerful model feels like it meets you for the first time every time you open a new thread. The first version launched in April 2024. It was called Saved Memories. You had to tell ChatGPT explicitly to remember something, like, "Remember, I am traveling to Singapore in July." That worked for clear facts, but it felt limited. ChatGPT only kept what you asked it to save. Everything else from the conversation could disappear. Worse, saved memories could go stale. A trip ends, a job changes, a preference shifts, but the old note might still sit in memory as if nothing happened. Users often felt like they were talking to someone who wrote a few sticky notes and forgot the rest of the conversation. The system depended on strong cues, and many useful details never made it into memory at all. In April 2025, OpenAI introduced Dreaming. The name sounds poetic, but the idea is practical. Dreaming is a background process that reviews past conversations and synthesizes useful context automatically. You no longer need to say "remember this" for every detail. If you mention dietary restrictions, a camera setup, or a work deadline in normal conversation, the system can learn from that history. Dreaming was a big step forward, and it helped saved memories feel less stale. But OpenAI says Dreaming alone was never enough as a standalone memory system. It improved personalization, yet the architecture still had limits. Think of V0 as a helpful supplement, not the full engine behind memory. That brings us to Dreaming V3, announced on June 4th, 2026. OpenAI built a more capable and compute-efficient memory architecture on top of Dreaming. The goal is to tackle staleness, correctness, and scale across hundreds of millions of users and conversations that span years. Memories synthesized by Dreaming are now reviewable through a memory summary page. You can see highlights of what ChatGPT knows, add or update details, and give instructions about what topics to bring up and when. If you want to explore a specific area, you can just chat with the model. This release is the most capable memory system OpenAI has shipped so far. OpenAI calls it a step function improvement over what came before. OpenAI evaluates good memory on 3 simple goals. First, carry forward useful context. You tell ChatGPT something once, and it should remember that in later chats. Second, follow preferences and constraints. If you say you are vegetarian, meal suggestions should stay vegetarian. Third, stay current over time. Memory should understand that life moves on. A birthday party planned for next Saturday should not still read as upcoming once Sunday arrives. These 3 pillars sound obvious, but they are hard to get right at scale. Dreaming V3 is designed to improve all 3 at once, instead of fixing only one piece of the puzzle. Each pillar maps to real moments where older memory systems broke down in everyday use. OpenAI published internal evaluation numbers for Plus and Pro users. Factual recall rose from 41.5% with saved memories in 2024 to 67.9% with Dreaming in 2025 to 82.8% with Dreaming V3 in 2026. Preference adherence improved from 31.4% to 55.3% to 71.3%. Time-sensitive accuracy jumped from 9.4% to 52.2% to 75.1%. The biggest leap is time awareness. Older systems could treat a finished trip as still active. Dreaming V3 is built to refresh memories as circumstances change. These are OpenAI's own benchmarks, but the direction is clear across every category. Here is a concrete example from OpenAI's blog. Imagine you ask what you need to buy for TTL Flash. with your underwater photography setup. Without memory, ChatGPT gives a long generic checklist. You still have to figure out which strobe, trigger, and cable match your camera and housing. With memory, ChatGPT recalls your actual gear, like a Sony camera in a Nauticam housing with specific strobes, and recommends compatible parts with part numbers. That is carry forward context in action. You said your setup once in an earlier chat. The new chat starts from that knowledge, instead of making you rebuild the story from scratch. The difference is not subtle when the question involves compatibility and part matching. Preferences work the same way. Say you are planning a trip to Singapore. 2 months earlier, you told ChatGPT you enjoy wildlife photography, prefer hotels with strong air conditioning, and like quiet dinners over crowded bars. Without memory, the itinerary looks like a generic tourist list with hawker centers and nightlife. With memory, the plan respects your interests. It suggests bird paradise and night safari, builds around heat and humidity, and avoids seating styles you dislike. Preferences can be explicit, like I am vegetarian, or implicit, like living near San Francisco, so local recommendations should match your area. Dreaming V3 is better at applying those preferences when they matter. The response feels tailored instead of copied from a travel brochure. Time is where old memory systems often failed. You tell ChatGPT you are in Singapore and need dinner tonight. Later the trip ends, but the model still thinks you are abroad. Dreaming updates memories as time passes. Going to Singapore in July can rewrite itself to went to Singapore in July 2026 after you return. Then a takeout question at home should point to restaurants near your actual location, not McDonald's in Singapore at 5 in the morning. OpenAI's evaluations show time-sensitive accuracy climbing to 75.1% with Dreaming V3. That is a huge jump from the 9.4% baseline in 2024. Getting the date and place right sounds basic, but it drives trust in daily recommendations. You are not locked in. The new memory summary page lets you review what ChatGPT knows about you at a high level. You can correct wrong details, add missing facts, or delete memories you do not want kept. You can also set instructions like do not bring up that topic again, or mention this when I ask about travel. OpenAI previously improved memory controls with GPT 5.5 Instant, and this update expands how context moves between conversations. Memory is powerful, so controls matter. The summary page is OpenAI's answer to making the system more transparent without forcing you to dig through every old chat manually. You stay in charge of what persists and what fades away. Dreaming V3 is rolling out now to ChatGPT Plus and Pro users in the United States. More countries follow in the coming weeks, along with free and go tiers. OpenAI says recent optimizations cut the compute needed to serve Dreaming to free users by about 5 times, which makes the wider rollout possible. This is the shared memory foundation OpenAI wants for all users going forward, and they plan to keep improving it. If memory has felt hit or miss for you before, this update is worth revisiting. Check your memory settings, review the summary page, and see how much smoother your next chat feels. Smarter memory means less repetition and more help that actually fits your life.